Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section for the SIMGOT EA1000 Fermat. This is the graph of the Fermat. As you can see, nice and smooth bass, focus on the sub bass, obviously very smooth transition to the mid bass, no bleed into the mids, a very nice progressive pin again, peaks at around 2.8, plateaus again across, extension past 10k. I mean, this is really nice, and it sounds just like you see, really nice. Compared to the EN1000, which it substitutes, completely different. I mean, way more bass. The EN is thin by comparison. It's not so much here between, let's say, 300 and 2.5. That's the difference. It's then you have that small dip, which really is not really the issue. It's just that you then got this energy at 5, 6, 7, which just kind of spoil things a little bit. And the thinness in the bass, it just makes for a thinner, more kind of sterile sounding IEM. Okay, so that's that. Compared to the EA2000, same sort of bass, up to about 2K, 2.5. You can say it's basically the same kind of sound. It's just then again this energy here that is problematic, and it doesn't have as much extension past 10K. So it just, bass is there, the mids are more or less there. This upper mids and treble is not as, it's splashy, not as nicely executed, and not as much extension, okay? And then finally, compared to the EA500, as you can see, I mean, it doesn't get much closer than this. The difference here is just the amount of bass really that you have. Obviously then sonically there is differences when you're listening to it, but I mean graphically, I think it speaks for itself. They are identical. I mean, I can even change the color here so that you guys can see in black, so that there's more contrast. I mean, it's actually quite interesting how similar or how equal they are. Okay, so that's the SIMGOTs. Just a quick thing that I wanted to show you here was, if you remember, this is the 500. The EN basically kind of supposedly has the same sort of bass, but it doesn't, because it is by comparison thinner sounding. Okay, let me just change the color. I'm just doing this here so that I can just kind of maybe explain the evolution of things. Okay, then the 2000 is basically like the 1000, the EN, but with more bass. So what they've done here with the EA1000, the Fermat, is kind of taken lessons from the three previous models, given it the bass of the 2000, given it the mids and upper mids of the 500. Period. In the story. All right. So now let's compare it then quickly to the IEMs. I'm going to get the Aoun Jasper, those IEMs that really are beaten outright out of the way first. Okay. So this is the Aoun Jasper. You know, looking at it this way, you'd think, okay, but there's not much difference. The Aoun, trust me, the Aoun sounds way thinner than the Fermat does. It doesn't have no way near the same sort of bass presentation or anything. Yes, it's got good technicalities, I'm not going to deny it, but it just doesn't sound the same thing. That's why, there's no comparison. The Fermat is just a superior IEM. Okay, so that's that one out of the way. Now, compared to, my apology guys, compared to the BQ-EYZ Autumn, let me just align it here a little bit better. Again, it's not like there's a monumental difference in terms of the graphs, no, but it just is the way that the bass sounds on the Fermat is completely different. And then there's way more detail, way more sparkle on the Fermat compared to the BQ-EYZ. There's just no comparison possible. Okay. However, compared to the winter, things do get a little bit better, especially in terms of the mids and upper mids and treble. There's more detail, and there's also that more sparkly sensation of space and everything. Bass has got some instances of being kind of similar, as long as it's not too sub-bassy. Mids, like I said, very similar, just the energy level that's a little bit different, and it's also got a nice amount of 3D-ness, but still, although it does better than the Autumn, it is still beaten by the Fermat. Okay. Let me see, yeah, the next one. Well, the EN1000, we already know it's not part of this group. Lazia, Hebe Lazia. Where's the Hebe Lazia? Here we go. Yes, exactly. Okay, Hebe Lazia. Let me just align it. The Hebe Lazia, I mean, the graph, I think, as well speaks for itself. It's just all over the place. This area here kind of comes across a little bit aggressive. It shouts a little bit too much. Very thin in the bass. It is just not an IEM. Although it sounds decent, it's just not as capable and as nice sounding as the Fermat. I'm actually gonna take this one out. Take away here the BQEYZ, the Ultra, so it doesn't confuse us. Take away here as well the Autumn. We can take away as well the 2000. We don't need it anymore. We can take away the 1000 as well. Okay, we take away here the Awon Jasper. That's it. All right, next one. Compared to the Moonjob Kato. Look, if you were to look just purely at the graph, you would say, okay, these will probably sound very similar. And the reality is, in terms of the mids, there is a very similar sound. There just isn't as much detail and extension and air as what you would think by the graph. By looking purely at the graph, you would say that the Kato kind of trades blows with the Fermat, and it doesn't. It does a good job, and it's part of that group of IEMs that, you know, is already not outright destroyed, let's put it that way, by the Fermat, but it's not on the same level compared to the where is it? Penon, Sonic, Tanstrum, Seek Real. Compared here to the Seek Real, let's take this one out. Seek Real is this one. Let's just align it and change the color. Compared to the Seek Real, again, very similar in the graph. You would be led to believe that they sound kind of similar, but no, there's just a different musicality, and it's always very much down to the way that the bass is executed. Okay, and then the Seek Real, although, you know, there's that thing that I've mentioned, that it shares supposedly the same driver as the Auction, it just doesn't sound the same way. Okay, and I'm actually going to leave it here for a while. I'm not going to erase it straight away, because I wanted to compare them with the Oxygen for you guys to see. Compared to the Audio Elixir, and let's just tighten it up here. Okay, there we go. I mean, this is smooth as can be. This is really smooth, the Elixir, but it's by comparison thin sounding in the bass. It's just about smoothness, so it's not even a fair comparison, and you know, it's just not fair. It's a very nice sounding IEM, the Elixir, not on the same sort of versatility and genre capability as the Fermat. Okay, so that's that. The next one, the Olina SE. Just align it here a little bit better. You know, you would think once again that, oh, okay, it's got very similar sound. No, it doesn't. There are instances, yes, that there are certain things that sound kind of equal and so on, but once again, it's the same situation as like on the Seek Real. It's the bass here that it's just it's different. It's just different. Okay. Next one, the Venture Electronics, which is this one. The Venture Electronics has got crazy bass, as you can see, especially when I put it now next to the Fermat. But although it's also got that kind of peak area that the EN and the EA had, you know, EN1000, the EA2000 had, this peakiness here at 5.6, the fact that it's got so much bass here from behind, it just doesn't make this feel as bad as it might look graphically. And the sound that comes across is a very nice sound. It's a very organic, very old school, very vintage kind of sound that just is not as technically capable. Okay, but like I mentioned, the VE actually, in my opinion, fares better against the Fermat than, for example, the Chapeau and the Olina. All right, so that's the VE. Next, the Tigerism octave, and then the view splendor. So Tigerism octave, let's just line it up here. Graphically, not huge differences. I mean, in terms of the bass, they actually, have a lot of similarities, as you will see. Mids is, it's just the detail up top here that's the biggest difference, okay? And the way that the bass is presented. It's not so much in the mids, because the mids of the Tigerism are also excellent, as you can see, okay? And the view splendor finally here, let me just bring it up so we can align. Oops, sorry, I misaligned it. There we go. The view splendor. The view, oh my god, view splendor, please. There we go. There we go. As you guys might recall when I was saying it, when I was in the review, in terms of the bass, the view splendor, it's got a really nice bass. It's probably the one that it's definitely its best feature, and it's the one that kind of almost I would say doesn't beat, but can sometimes give a real good go to the Fermat. It's just then the execution of the rest of the frequency is not on the same level. And so when I, for example, compare it just to the Tigerism, as I'm doing here, the Tigerism, although it has a little bit less bass, the balance that is struck is better. So the Tigerism actually comes across as being more detailed, as having more extension or more perceived extension up top, although graphically doesn't seem it, because the bass of the view splendor kind of camouflages a lot of that energy that you can that is there, but it's just camouflaged. Okay, that's it. And then finally, then the sorry. So that's the Fermat. Finally, then the oxygen, and the oxygen, as you can see, graphs. And I'm also missing the Isabellai. Also graphs almost identical. It's just, yes, I would say from 400 hertz, the way that it sounds up to 8 kilohertz is very similar. Lots of good extension as well up top, but the Fermat it's just got something there that gives it that little extra edge. And again, I know I'm insisting on this, but that edge is all down to the way that the bass is executed and how that bass then affects the rest of the frequency range. Just for, yes, before we go, let me show you here where is it? Pennon Vortex, yes, I was forgetting that, and the Aureolus Isabellai as well. Okay, so Aureolus Isabellai, line it up here. There we go. Forget that they look similar in terms of the graph. The way they sound is very different. One is very detailed by comparison, which is the Fermat. One is more old school, more organic, which is the Isabellai. The Isabellai just sounds it just sounds really good, honestly. It just, for me, for my ears at least, it just sounds really, really nice. Now the Vortex, and I was also missing the sonic memories to show you. So the Vortex number 7, line it up. Number 7. Okay, there we go. Vortex definitely doesn't have the sort of bass that the Fermat has, but up top it keeps up with the Fermat in a very nice manner. It really does keep up, very competitively. And as I was mentioning, the sonic memory, let's just line it up here. The sonic memory and the Vortex are very similar. There's just a smidge more bass on the sonic memory, just a smidge more bass, but they're very similar. That's why they sound almost identical. There's really not much. And then compared them with the Fermat, the similarities are even more. It's just that the bass again doesn't come across in the same manner. But the sonic memory is an absolute beast of an IM. I mean, this is a really nice sounding IM. Really, really nice sounding IM. I know that on the final ranking there, my apologies, sorry. In the final ranking there, I mentioned that the Fermat, the Vortex, the Oxygen, and the Falcon. They all are very, very close, and because that's the reality, they all are very close. Oh yes, talking about Falcon, I was actually forgetting to show you the Falcon. Oh, what is wrong with me? There we go. Yeah, do no Falcon. Falcon with that, and now let's align the Falcon. Let's align the Falcon, and sorry guys, my apologies. And there we go. Again, a lot of similarities in the way the graph is overall done. I mean, you know, were it not to be, I think this will basically sum it up. Were it not for the way that the base on the Fermat has been done, and that's what I think is the ultimate, its ultimate trump card, is that the base is just so well done. It's just so well executed that it's not by no means a base head IEM. No, if I was to look at it that way, the Into Aura, the View Splendor is a base head IEM. Let's put it that way by comparison. Although again, it's not. It's just got loads of quantity of base and very well executed, much like the VAC. But the differences between something like the Falcon, something like Oxygen. Where's the Oxygen? There we go. The Oxygen, which I've just put up. Even the SIMGOT, the EA500. Let me put here another one. To a certain extent as well, the Kato. Okay. The Aureolus Abilai. The Penon Vortex, the Sonic Memories, what else? That's not, no, and no. Okay, the difference between these IEMs, honestly, you know, it's the way base is executed. And although some of them have got exactly the same base, apparent base level or base response, it's just the way that it's executed in the Fermat is on. But as you can see, the majority of them between 250, 300 hertz and almost 8K, they come across very, very similar and all have that same sort of extension. The ones here that perhaps don't have that much extension up top is something like this, which is the extension past 10K is the Falcon. It just doesn't have as much. And something like the like this, which is number 6 is, I was forgetting now here, the Aureolus Abilai. Those are the two that probably just don't have the same extension past, you know, they give a more old school kind of vibe sound. But the truth is, like I said in the review, you know, it's all about how many right boxes are they ticking. Okay, and the Fermat just ticks the more right boxes. You know, that's the truth. I'm sure some of you might have been surprised by the fact that I rated the EA500 as in second place along with the Isabella. And the reason for that, I think it's pretty obvious, but I'll say it nevertheless. It's because of the price. Because for the $70 odd that it costs, it's performing to a level, to a standard, which is just, in my books at least, very much unexpected. And you know, I'm just put up the EA500 graph again for you guys to see. I mean, it's graphing almost like the same thing as the. I'm sure that if the EA500 was to have the same sort of bass execution, they would sound indistinguishable. In my opinion, they really would sound indistinguishable. Anyway, guys, that's it. As always, like and subscribe. Any questions you might have, please feel free to ask me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. All right, you take care now. Bye bye.